Welcome back to Canton Avenue. I'm your host, Lane Hollingsworth, joined by the other host,
Cord Koenig.
Today we have guest James Leggitt, who was actually my roommate in the dormitory Gordon Hall last year. By luck of the draw, he's a pretty interesting guy. He's got some stories, and we're hoping to captivate y'all a little bit. So, Cord, let's get this thing rolling.
So I think we're going to start this podcast out with a story from Lane Hollingsworth himself, Mr. Bo Bainey.
Oh, okay. Not aware of that, but let's get into it. All right. So, was it the... All right. So, check this out. It's about this time last year. Okay. It's beginning of the second semester of my freshman year at Texas Technological University. All right. And I had been talking to this girl for a little while over Christmas break, and we kind of, we hit things off. That's kind of how it went for the entire semester. We got a little bit closer, and we had a few laughs here and there, and went on a date or two, and then we went and we broke for summer. Everybody goes home for summer, okay? And we kind of kept up. We talked a little bit here and there, and then we got back, man, and she was just real distant, and I didn't think too much of it, And then come to find out, it was actually James who notified me. So I kind of worked it out in my head that by the time I got back, I was like, we'll probably, try this thing out. We'll give this thing a fair shot.
A little test run.
Yeah. And we're riding back, and we had been at one of the local distilleries, Rodeo 4, and we're riding back, and James actually told me. Would you tell me exactly how to?
So we were driving down Texas Tech Parkway.
Yeah.
And you were talking to us about, you were shooting us the idea, like, hey, things were,
we're not name dropping,
yeah, they were all right. You guys think I should hit this with like a test run? And in my head, I was confused. I was like, this girl got a boyfriend now. And I was like, Lane, what are you talking about? I was like, she's got a boyfriend.
And I'm kind of taken aback.
See, because like in our friend group, like everyone knows, like obviously besides you and Code, like
me and Cord were completely in the dark, had no idea this was going on. So naturally, I get a little bit fired up. I burn the bridge, I sink it. It's at the bottom of the ocean.
Oh, you were, you made phone calls the second you figured out.
Yeah.
Like 3 seconds
it was bad. It was bad. I really let my emotions kind of take the reins on that one. I haven't gone back since. Haven't made amends. That's not the point of the story. First of all, James told me, which I appreciated.
Yeah, of course.
Because there were some other friends of mine that were aware of this that had not gotten around to telling me.
They thought it was best you didn't know, but it's not.
But it's kind of like, if you're my buddy. Out. Yeah. So, anyhow.
Did they know that you didn't know, or did they just assume that you did know already?
I think they told me that they didn't know. That I didn't know, but I think it's probably safe to bet that they just assumed and hoped I already knew, so they didn't have to break the news to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
That makes sense.
But anyhow, so we go back and we're at this few weeks down the road, maybe a month down the road, and we see her out and about with her new man.
Probably 6, 7 friends.
Yeah, like 6 or 7
3
buddies.
other guys, 4
Coach,
other girls.
It's me, James, and Cord. All right, and we're waiting on
a terrible combination.
Yeah, just nothing good's going down, and we're waiting on. We're waiting on Aubrey's coming to pick us up.
She's gonna get us.
And I kind of make eye contact through the crowd, and naturally, blood starts boiling, tensions get hot, and I'm kind of talking to James and Cord, and I'm like, hey, we don't engage. We're bigger than this. We don't need anything.
You're supposed to be grown when it comes to decision making like that.
Yeah, and
weren't.
Just to kind of tell you the kind of guy James is, because Cord and I would, everybody. It's been a long night, but everybody, is doing okay. We're all dialed in, and me and Cord are like, yeah, that's probably a good idea. Let's just, ignore them, pretend like they're not there. James is tooth to tooth with it, bro. He's in their faces. I mean, Her friends are getting called 4 out of 10s by him.
Well,
He's
they
like,
had that big body gal staring me and you down, like trying to start something. I'm not one to pick fights, right? But I'm not one to let someone talk.
Yeah. And so James is in my ear and he's like
that might have been the most BS statement I've ever heard in my entire life.
life.
I'm not one to pick fights.
Yeah,
I try not to. Okay.
You were like in my face, and I remember this distinctly. And you're like, I don't give a shit how many there are. I'll fight all of them right now. And I was like, it'd be fun.
It'd be cool.
It'd be cool. But I'm gonna be honest with you, numbers were not on our side.
Oh no.
And the other thing is, you can't give them that kind of satisfaction.
No, they're gonna think we're hurt about it or something like that.
Yeah. So, anyways, we kind of backed out, and we had, there's been multiple times that we've almost gotten sideways or have gotten sideways with people at local establishments. But
yeah,
James, once you've got him, the moral of the story is, James, once you've got him in your corner, he's going to be there.
It was funny. Me and Cord are pretty close now, but I did not like this guy when you brought him.
You didn't like Cord the first time?
No.
Well, that's the thing.
James and I have talked about this too. I mean, like for the first probably semester, we didn't really like. I mean, I wouldn't say I disliked him necessarily, but I mean, if you'd asked me like to do something for him, I probably would have been like, just kick rocks.
I wasn't around. I didn't go out much first semester. I wasn't really around Cord. He spit in our dorm one time.
I did do that.
I did do that.
I was a little upset about that.
He came.
I was fired up.
I
was fired up.
I don't really remember what you were fired up about, but
he was trying to make a statement and then took it a little too far.
Yeah, you were joking around and then you took it too far, and then
I remember being pretty mad. I don't know. I can't remember what we were mad about.
All I know is that you spit on the floor in front of me, James, and Gavin, and we were all kind of like, you gonna clean that up?
Didn't I tell? I don't know if I told Gavin. I think it was Gavin. I told Gavin to clean it up. I don't think I felt too bad about it, but
no. But then Lane went off. Second semester rolls around. Lane goes off for.
James didn't have any more friends.
You went off for
I was pledging, so I was busy.
So it was just me and Cord running the show. And let me tell you what,
it's always nice when I'm the last option, huh?
Yeah. Now we have a saying. It's the James and Cord show now.
Coach, I'm a third wheel now.
You left us.
Third wheel to his own podcast.
Yeah, seriously.
Taking over.
All right, James. So you grew up in a military family, and I kind of want to hear. And I moved around a couple times when I was growing up, but I kind of want to hear what it was like, moving quite a bit when you were younger. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you didn't move that much, but if so.
So my story is different than most military families. So most military families move a lot. You do TDY, go these place to place. My family didn't. We were stationed at 2 bases only. Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, and then Clovis, New Mexico. It's called Canton Air Force Base, 27 Special Operations. So we only went to 2 places because you either didn't deploy often and, PCS to all these places, or you deployed a lot.
Yeah.
My dad deployed a lot. He was like, I'm not moving us. We're going to deploy. My dad deployed, I think, 7 or 8 times. And all mainly while I was young. He stopped deploying when I was 14, I believe. 14, 15. That was his last deployment. And, but I mean, he's gone at least 6 months. His longest one was 11 months at one point. One of them, he came back the day before Christmas. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Walks in Christmas Eve. Hey, what's up, bud? You're like, whoa.
Yeah.
It really wasn't bad. Back in school, we used to have career days.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what they were called? Yeah. My dad was also running the SWAT team at the time for the base. So it'd be like career day. Everyone's dad's coming in. Moms, I'm a plumber. No, not bashing them, but my dad walks in with the SWAT team and he's got
with the whole SWAT team.
Yeah, there's only like 6 of them, 8 of them. I have a shirt.
Still beast. Bro.
Yeah, still cool. Walks in with like riot shields and like axes and stuff. Obviously, you're not gonna bring in like guns and stuff, but like just little cool stuff like rams and everything. Like it was pretty cool growing up. And like I don't know if y'all did it. I had the debate of my dad could beat up your dad a lot. My dad could really beat up your dad.
Yeah,
like it wasn't really. I
will speak on that James's dad could beat up your dad because I wrestled him. Cord did.
We've
too.
all wrestled him.
That was a great night, by the way.
My gosh, what a unit of a man!
My neck
that
hurt
was
for a week.
And I had to
Oh,
swallow
yeah.
my. He hurt me bad. I had to swallow my pride, but he.
Oh,
hurt
it was
me
bad.
Yeah,
And that that was retired.
Yeah.
Old James.
yeah. That wasn't even him in his prime, man.
But we'll get to that in a little while, though.
Would he be like gone 6 months and then be at home for 6? Or?
It was usually 6 months and then like a year, like maybe
Oh,
a little
damn.
under a year back. And then
Was he doing other types of work and stuff? Was that when he was doing SWAT?
Yeah,
Like
he would
go
work in
deploy
and
then
out.
come back
Yeah,
and SWAT. Yeah.
it was that. He would just be, you get like time when you get back to obviously to not go. Like you're not going to redeploy the second you get back. It's kind of just wait until either it's time to go again or it's like, hey, you have to move now. They're going to be like, well, my dad was like, no, I'm just going to deploy again. So he just deploy again. But it wasn't bad. I think one of my better memories was back before we moved to Clovis. So before 2012, I was probably in fourth grade, third grade.
Yeah.
I remember playing checkers with my dad, like over on the computer, like while he's deployed. I don't remember what website we were using or what, but we're playing
online checkers.
Yeah, just playing checkers against each other. It was good times. And then he'd be like, all right, bud, I got to go to work. And I'd be like, all right, Dad, I got to go to bed. Good night.
That's pretty cool.
So I'm kind of curious about this. So obviously you talked a lot about how your dad was gone a lot and you got to kind of see him do the whole process and see how it works. How did seeing that influence what you wanted to be growing up? Obviously a lot of time to change that, but you're getting to the age now where that's starting to become a real topic.
Now I got to figure out. So apparently up until I was like 3 years old, all I wanted to be was like an ice cream man. That's what they told me growing up. But ever since I can remember, it was I'm going to the military. Like there was no question about it. Not only was my dad military, every single one of his brothers were. His dad was. My great grandpa was. Like my entire family's just a big military family. So there's really no question about it. I'd already planned to go. Like you remember in 6th grade when you used to make those like planners for the future, and they like kept up with you throughout high school and stuff like that. In 6th grade, I was writing I was going to go here. Like I stayed at the Air Force Academy. I changed that. I'm not going there anymore. I'm going to Army now. Well, at least I plan to, but it never like I never drifted to anything else. It was either I'm going to the military or I'm going to be a cop. But no other career path was really in mind at all. So.
And your dad was pretty supportive of this, and your mom as well?
My mom my mom like met my dad when he was a bouncer at the time, like 2 years into the Air Force, bouncing at a club. My mom's like, go to a club, beat this bouncer, whatever. Anyway, so my mom's been a stay-at-home mom, up until like 16 years old, like for me at least. Mm-hmm. Her stepdad was in the military. Like that's really all she knew too. It's like military was like all my mom knew. So she was like, your dad did well, you'll do well. I have no problem with it. Dad was like, well, if this is what you're going to do, then we have to do this. And, he started getting me ready and whatnot, informing me, helping me guide to a path. So my dad was enlisted. So at 17 years old, my dad graduated high school because his birthday is July 20th, was home for a week and a half, and then went to basic training for the Air Force. And then did 20 years, retired at 37 I think it was 2019 and got out.
So he got out fairly
retired very young.
Yeah. And then just before you graduated high school too, because you were 2021. So
yeah, 2 years.
You've talked to me about it. I'm sure talked to Lane about it too. And I guess it would be right about this same time. Pretty soon after your dad retired, they moved to Granbury, and you were faced with a decision to either move with them or stay in Clovis. Is that correct?
This is like, it's really hard to explain this like whole story because it's super confusing. So since my dad was in the military, I get in school what's called the Hazelwood Act. Mm-hmm. And if your parent retires out of Texas, you get this and you get the Hazelwood Act, but they have to own a residency in Texas.
Okay.
And we lived in New Mexico.
Right.
And so my dad was like, hey, for this to work, we got to get out of New Mexico. And me being that 17-year-old senior in high school who was like at the time in love, I was like, I'm not moving. there's no way I'm going with y'all. I like this woman. I know, guys, I'm not leaving. Huge debate, major debate. It finally boiled down to me being so stubborn. They let me stay. I moved in with a family friend at the time. And he was in the reserves. He used to work for my dad back on the base. Then he got out. Now he works in the reserves. And but he'd leave all the time. I was literally living alone in a house for free. All I had to do was take care of the dogs. So,
pretty good little gig there.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, but I wasn't like a crazy high schooler though. So like it was literally just me going to work, going to the gym, and
going to school.
Yeah. Going to I was doing that community college thing at the time. But
and you just went to college. You didn't actually go to the like Clovis High School. You didn't go to the
only
there anymore.
Only my junior year. I was still playing football up till my junior year, and then I stopped. Life and whatnot, but so I was full. Clovis introduced this program called Early College High School. So
Great program,
best decision I think I've ever made. You go to the school for free, right? You just take college classes. That I technically got all my graduation requirements done within like the first month of this program, and so yeah, I'm doing this. I only had to go like twice a day for like 3 hours each time. Mm-hmm. So like 6-hour days, you get Fridays off.
No extracurriculars though.
Nope. I was doing football junior year, but then I stopped doing that. It was just full time at this college my senior year. So I graduated high school with 2 associate's degrees.
My dad helped open one of those because my dad's a public education legend, and he helped open one of those in GCISD, I think, one of the early college high schools. And if you're willing to sacrifice extracurriculars, those are huge. If you're going to go to college and you want an associate's, those are huge. Well,
and it's a massive money saver too. I mean, especially with how expensive things are nowadays.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like even dual credits. Now, Lane and I didn't have the opportunity to have an early college program.
In a rural area.
But I mean, we still came in with 30 college hours with dual credit, and that's I can't even begin to describe how important and how crucial that has been for
Coach,
our further education.
We'd have 5 semesters left if not for dual credit. Now we only have 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I were to like hammer down, not do anything anymore, I could be out of here by December. Yeah, completely graduated. But I'm not. I decided I'm gonna wait till May. Kind of early. Yeah, just mess around a little more.
Hang out with the boys.
Yeah, I can't leave the boys. But yeah, so my family moved to Granbury, Texas, about 45 minutes south of Fort Worth.
Beautiful place, by the way.
Yeah, it's actually surprisingly pretty.
Yeah, very hilly, rolling hills kind of deal, but super nice retirement town. There was literally nothing bad. Everything's on one big road. You're 45 minutes from Fort Worth if you want to go like do something cool. But very nice little area. Up until graduation of May 2021. I was living with a family friend. I go back, and our deal was that I could stay living in this house until I graduate. Then I go back home for 2 weeks, and the guy's like, hey, deal's up. I said you could stay until graduation. You graduated. You got to get out now. Still the stubborn kid. I'm not coming home. I'm not moving to Granbury. I'm going to college in a few months. I want to stay with my buddies here and whatnot. And, the girl I'm talking to is there, and I can't leave her. So I refuse to stay. One of my closest friends now, I had made a deal with him, and he let me live there until we graduated, or until summer was over. I live with him now. Great guy. Rhett.
Okay.
Rhett. Love the dude. Let me live with him for a few months.
So I thought you were living with Rhett the whole time. You were in the house by yourself.
Well, no, it was a family friend.
Yeah, the family friend was this guy who worked for my dad, and he let me live there.
At his house while he wasn't there.
All I had to do was watch his dogs. Oh. Like because he left it a lot. Like he would deploy, or he would go visit family, or he'd go out to, I think it was Dallas for the reserves.
Nice. So you lived at his house, and then he was like, hey, after you graduated, he was like, hey.
Like, I let you live here for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And he goes, hey,
I feel like I did my
time
part.
To, I'm a 30-year-old guy who's, single. I want to live my life and, chill and go back to how it was. Like,
he did a
17, get out. Yeah. He did it for my dad. I mean, he probably didn't care about me, but my dad was like his boss.
Kissing ass a little bit. Yeah.
The idiots.
All for a girl, though. That's what. Yeah. And I guess when you're strung out over a girl, you're the summer after your senior year, I was doing the same thing. So
Yeah.
I can't blame you, but you're never right, by the way.
Oh yeah, no. And
she doesn't love you.
Yeah, never does.
She doesn't love you.
She doesn't. But you talked earlier about how we miraculously became dorm roommates with you. I remember the third day of moving in. Actually, it was like the first day. I called you. I moved in that day, and I was like, "Hey, you have my key to the door," because we remember we switched rooms.
Yeah.
And you were like, "All right, I'll be there in a second." Like swung up, gave me the key. I went back. The second day of us being there, it might have been second or third. You go, "We should go buy a fish," and I was like, "That's a great idea. Let's go buy a fish."
Yeah.
I've never rode anywhere with you. Allegedly, right? Allegedly, we're doing like $110 down Marsha Sharp.
Coach.
And you look over at me because you told me this story a few months later. You go, "That's how I knew we were going to be close friends." I looked over at you and you were just chilling. Like,
yeah, no,
I wasn't even phased,
because I was trying to gauge you. I was like, all right. So I slowly increased speed and was just waiting for a reaction out of you. I was like, okay, is he gonna do something whenever I hit 90? Coach, we're doing like $110 in the old Fuge.
Eco Beast.
Allegedly.
Yeah. No, we were, man. We were moving.
Not allegedly.
bumping Eminem, and without me, just had the blood pumping that day, and James was dialed in. I mean, he's just stone cold.
But
that was and the other thing is too, I don't know, we didn't actually come up with the name, but that fish's name was Chief Reef.
No, because we put it on the door. Remember?
Yeah, and somebody suggested Chief Reef, and then we had Gil Uzivert after that. A couple.
He was a
banging
beast.
Ass names.
If you ask our past dorm neighbors and all that, that fish was the highlight. Probably every year we had a whole funeral.
Oh my gosh, that was
like 4 days in.
Coach, we set the tone. All right, so check it out. You're staying in an all freshman co-ed dorm, and our fish doesn't make it more than 2 days, maybe 3 days.
He died the next
Reef
day
dies
because he got into that fight
with another fish. Yeah, we were trying to mate him. So Chief Reef died of natural causes, and we had a funeral for him. And so we printed out this whole pamphlet, and it was like, "Please join us in love and memory of Theodore Raphelius Alexander III," or something, aka Chief Reef. And we just advertised the crap out of it and just invited everybody from our dorm. It was awesome.
Through the entire thing in like an hour and a half. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
We had like a police escort.
Cord gave a sermon.
There was
a literal cop there.
He was just chilling outside the dorm, and we go, "Will you?" He walks in and escorts us to the downstairs lobby bathroom.
Coach, it was ridiculous. We deserved an Oscar for that performance. There is footage.
Oh, we were on the ground,
us, fake crying,
holding each other.
I mean, and we pulled together 30 or 40 people probably.
Coach,
we had a lot. Of
I've been to funerals with less people there.
It was
was actual
else.
Funerals.
It was something else. A good enough time for me and James actually have 205 tattooed on our left buttocks.
Dad did it. Yeah,
he did
over one of the breaks.
Yeah, what was that, spring break?
Yeah, because everyone went out to like South Padre or whatever, and then there was me and you like, screw going on vacation. I'm gonna go see my family.
You were in Granbury,
and you lived in Waxahachie. Yeah, and so I was like, hey, come over. It was only an hour drive.
Yeah, and so I did, and one thing led to another, and next thing I know, James's dad was giving me a tattoo late in the night.
Yeah, got your leg up on the Bowflex.
Coach, I was
shaking. Yeah,
it's real shaky. I'm not gonna show you. Take me out to dinner first. I'm not gonna show you, but I mean, there's like blowouts and it's all shaky.
Oh yeah, but yeah, no. So we're all out there chilling, and I go, "Dad, bust out the tattoo gun." Dude slips on one glove, grabs the gun, has a beer in his other hand.
Says, quote, "I'm going to freehand this."
He's like, "I ain't stenciling this. I'm freehand it. Prop your leg up." Dips it in the ink. I go, "Dad, I want 205. I look at my buttocks. After that, there's a smiley face, dude, right next to 205.
I didn't even live in 205. I was just there all the time.
You would have gotten one, though.
If he was there, he would have got one.
They would have forced me to. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I would have held you down. Yeah.
And if I'd have tried to run, James's dad had grabbed me. There went nothing I could do.
It was going somewhere on your body.
Good night, boys.
Truth, boys.
But So pretty soon after that, I mean, I guess that was what, middle of second semester?
Spring
Yeah,
break.
spring break,
Yeah.
second semester. Yep.
So, I mean, we end second semester, and we actually, kind of referring to a thing that we talked about earlier, we actually all went to your house
Like following that year.
about middle of May.
Yeah, just
Just after the year ended.
Mm-hmm.
For us.
Kind of as like a
yeah. Because when
End
you're a
of second
freshman,
semester.
when you're a freshman in college and you go home for those breaks, I don't know if it was just me, but like winter break, the first 2 weeks that I went home, I was hurting. Boys, I missed Lubbock, I missed y'all, I missed going out.
Well, you went back. You had to go to Granbury.
I had to go to a place where I had 0 friends.
Me and Court have talked about that. Being home and like not having like your best friends around you sucks.
Yeah. Hell, Cord goes home, doesn't have his best friends around him. He feels the same way we do. He ain't got nobody to hang out with.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, even if you have like people like when you're used to hanging out and doing the same kind of things consistently, and just having the ability to hang out with those people, like it really does kind of throw you for a loop when you don't have that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, each in our own different ways, I think we all kind of experienced that a little bit.
Yeah.
Just you know,
After 2 weeks, you're pretty good. You're
yeah,
like,
kind of an
okay.
adjustment.
2 more
It's
weeks.
like, I don't even
and I'll
like
be
these
back.
guys.
Yeah, I didn't really like hang out with them anyway. Second semester, first year of college ends. We all go home. It's really depressing. I'm the last one out the dorm. It's empty. It's sad. Anyway, whatever. We all go home. I planned a little get together for all of us, like 3 weeks into summer or something like that.
Not even.
Max
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah. So I'm like, hey, everyone come down from this point to this point. I'll call off work. Everyone's chilling. Yeah, so I invite everyone down. We plan everything out. Have a night that leads to, I got a pool table in the garage. We're shooting pool.
Well, we actually had to go get that pool table.
Yeah.
Oh my!
You'd only been there for 2 hours. That's when we got there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all just
Coach,
get there.
We had to load it up in that U-Haul trailer. And there was one point where I was the one, and you can't grab it on the side. You
No,
gotta
because it'll
reach
break.
under
You
and
got to
grab the
get like
base.
low. Yeah.
So, Coach, I'm under there, and it's up on my forearms, kind of like this. I got it set up, and we're moving like a few feet at a time, and we finally get these front 2 legs up on the trailer, and we got to readjust.
Yeah, so
okay?
I'm in the trailer right now because I like walked backwards, took a step in.
Yeah, and so y'all got Baney, and I'm not the biggest guy there is. Y'all got Baney down on one end, supporting this damn.
You're struggling,
Coach, it's cutting into my forearms.
Oh yeah, we were all.
It's
cut
bleeding.
up, yeah.
Dude, I look like Ronnie Coleman back there, man. My legs were shaking.
I took a lemonade break right about this time.
It's because we get there and they were like,
Coach's doing calf stretches in between.
yeah.
Coach, I didn't want to pull a muscle.
Yeah.
Good night,
Eventually we
boys.
got it in though, and that was the easy part. We had to get back to the house and unload it.
It was awesome.
Well, that was actually easier because your dad kind of took over when we were taking it out,
a little bit.
and he just kind of was like holding the table up, and we were just like,
We're like running around. How you guys won't get this out? And he's like, "Will you hurry up?"
Yeah,
please?"
yeah.
was deep
He's like
sweating that
very like upset, but like doesn't want to show it because Mama Leggitt's sitting there like, do y'all want some water? What about a
You're holding half
sandwich?
of this table.
Yeah. Anyway, so we get a pool table the day I'll get here. We're all shooting around. About 2:00 in the morning comes around. My dad's like, I remember this like perfectly. I'm laying on the floor because obviously I'm tired. My dad walks up to me and goes, "What are you doing? You done for the night?" And I go, "You looking at? You want to go?" And he goes, "Yeah." He pulls me up. We go out to the yard. We just start, grappling, wrestling.
Yeah.
And then you two get into it. We're taking turns. Just
Well, he's-
bang, bang.
Well, the
bang.
thing
He
is,
wrestled
I
each
was in-
one of us twice and beat us all.
Smoked us all.
It was a
Coach,
rough
he was
day.
he was like sitting there coaching us while he was beating us.
He was like, "Yeah, slide your hand here.
Yeah,
Put
yeah.
your elbow
He's
down."
like, "You won't throw your leg the other way, man."
He's like, "There you go." And the second you get out of that one, he throws you into something
Yeah.
else. Yeah.
He's pretty pimp. It was
But
pretty pimp.
it was a great day, a great night. My neck hurt definitely for like another
Oh, dude,
week
he
after
tore us
that
up.
because he loves doing that. It's called a neck crank. He loves doing them.
Where he pulls you.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't do anything. You just like you pull your neck to where it like overstretches, and you're like, okay, let go of me because
Yeah.
it hurts.
But anyway, that's not really important.
Yeah.
We just kind of messed around and did that. So I guess kind of moving into the latter part of the story. So pretty soon after this,
that night,
that
excursion to Granbury,
we all go back to our respective areas, and we're working. I know that James and I are both working at Lowe's.
Great
Lane's
time.
working at HEB.
The
HGB.
Beast.
And things are going pretty good. And I don't know if you want to take over the story.
That was the last bit of time that I spent with James Leggitt Jr.
Yeah.
The second.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was the second. Yeah, so morning of July 2nd, I believe 6:53 a.m., my dad passes away from a heart attack. Not something every 18-year-old wants to go through. Hit me like a train kind of deal. I get a call. My mom had to break the news to me. She calls me in the morning. She goes, blah, 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 blah. And, most reactions are like, hey, bawl your eyes out, cry.
Yeah.
Not when you get that bad of news. It was like, whoa. It's kind of like mind-blowing that it happens. I think I just walked in my front yard for about an hour until I, finally went up to the ER and went to go see him. But it was rough. The first phone call I made was to Cord
Mm-hmm.
when I got there. And he probably didn't even know what was happening. I was like, hey, man, you remember when I
didn't.
this and this and this? And I was like, well, my dad just passed away. And he was like, what? Like, kind of just like, wow.
Well, I kind of had the same reaction you did a little bit.
You don't really know what to say. Yeah.
Because I was up early. It was probably 7:15, 7:20 in the morning.
Around there.
And it's like the air just gets taken out.
I worked afternoons at HEB. Like I would work until like 2:30 a.m. So I wasn't even up at that time yet.
Yeah.
But it was kind of one of those things, and I actually got to work, and I was on a break when I found out, and I think I found out by your post or something, and
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and I called you, but it was, and I couldn't even imagine, first of all, kind of what you went through, but I mean,
I'll tell you, it was rough. It was rough.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to think the last interaction that Cord talked about this. The last interaction we had with him was just a display of his power.
Oh yeah.
Just physical strength, and it was a heart attack that got him, right?
Yeah. We all the Leggitts have like I think it's like an underdeveloped left ventricle, something like that.
Yeah.
So all have heart problems.
But to see that kind of, just to understand and realize how fragile life is was something else.
I mean, you talk about a guy who did 20 years in the Air Force, smoked most of his life, drank pretty often, did 8 tours, and lived throughout all of it. Let alone he had a really rough childhood. But, guy got through a lot of stuff, and to go at 40, he's 40. To go at 40 years old to a heart attack is like,
yeah,
kind of bad.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't mind talking about it, I'd really like to.
You kind of had to step up to the plate for the family.
Well, that's kind of what I was going to refer to is, can you kind of talk, you don't have to get super in depth, but briefly about how the response was after that and what all you had to do to kind of get your family in a position that, because you had to move.
Yeah. So, Dad, like I said, Dad was retired at the time. Dad was working at the dealership for Granbury. Great people, by the way.
Yeah,
really helpful during the situation. But Mom's a stay-at-home mom. So now that Dad's gone, there is zero income coming into this house. It's like not a cheap house either. Yeah. So we're like, well, we got to move. That wasn't like the first thing on the list. The first thing was getting everything set. First main point was the funeral. Well, it wasn't. It was more of a viewing kind of deal. It was getting all that set up. So we're doing that. We're working on the viewing at the time. We're working on getting bills, cards, phone bills, car bills, everything switched over to Mom. Get her to take over everything because bills are on auto pay and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we're working on that all while everyone's in this weird mood because of what just happened. So it's really hard to get reality set while you're looking at all this. So I had a really good like schedule. I would wake up, go to the gym. There'd be a ton of people at my house, like all the time. Like there's uncles, cousins, aunts, like brother, or
Everybody's just there.
everyone's there to try to help in any way possible. And so your house is just filled. I'm running on autopilot. I also have a little sister, so I'm trying to like shield her from everything that's happened. Like because she knew, but she like didn't know why or what happened or anything like that. I'm just trying to like focus mainly on not her having to see what's going on. Just like life's still gonna be okay. So I'm doing all this. So I had a schedule. I'd wake up, I'd eat oatmeal or like whatever was there. I'd go to the gym. I'd come back and I would help any way I could. I'd bring mom to this place or this place or this place. And then at night, everyone went to bed. And then I got rough. Because I don't express my emotions. I don't show anyone how I feel or anything. I would go out in the garage, allegedly, with a bottle of whiskey and would drink half of it pretty much every single night.
Yeah.
And the next morning, once I'd finished the bottle, I'd go get a new one. I'd sit out in the garage with like a picture of my dad and just take shots. Here's to this, here's to this, here's to that. Just over and over and over again. Like I'm staying up till 5, blacking out, and then getting up the next morning, doing it all over again.
It was scary for us just because we and we knew, when it came to it, if you had to step up to the plate, we knew you would. Me and Court did.
Yeah.
And we would have conversations with each other just to make sure we were kind of on the same page that you were doing okay with the circumstances.
Yeah.
But knowing you, there were times where we would intentionally kind of prod at you and be like, "Hey, open up to us," just because we know you like to shut down. And I can't speak on how I would have dealt with that because I have no idea.
Yeah, you just
hopefully I don't know for a long time what that's like, but
I say this a lot. I don't wish the death of like a father or a mother on anyone. Like my dad was like my hero, still is. Looked up to him your entire life, and when he's also my best friend. So when you take that away, it's like, whoa, So I say this to this day. I don't wish that pain upon my worst enemy because like it was bad.
Now I know you. If you're still doing it, you're covering it up well. When did you get to a point where you were like, sitting in my garage drinking half a bottle is not the answer? What kind of helped you get away from that?
I wouldn't say there was a time that I decided this is stupid. I need to quit drinking every night, allegedly. I kind of just, my dad always used to tell me, he goes, when it's time for you to step up, you're going to have to step up. So I remember it was me, 3 of my dad's brothers, all standing outside the ER room at that time. Like the morning of. And I called the guy that helped us, let him know the news. And I'm standing out. We're all standing in the parking lot. There's those 3. They're all looking at me, and I go, all right, well, it's time to make shit happen. They're all crying, and I'm like, not. Straight face, like we got to do stuff now.
Yeah.
And so there's the only thing that kept me really going, and like I said, I would only do that alone and at night. But if you saw me outside of that, couldn't tell. And so I'm like making stuff happen. And like the only thing that kept me going was this still needs to be done. I need to get them done. Like I was like
just filling your time.
Yeah, like my main go was I'm an adult already. I pay my own bills, everything I do, like I pay for it. I was like, I need to make sure they are okay because I know I'll be fine. I've been doing this. I know I'll be all right, but I need to make sure my mother and sister, everything is set up for them and they're okay. And then I'll go off and, be stupid or whatnot on my own.
Yeah.
So nothing really stopped me from drinking in the garage or something like that. It was more of like the setting that did. So this was right before we were supposed to come back for, we came back to Tech I came back the 19th. I know y'all came back the
15th. The 15th on your birthday.
Yeah. So y'all I made sure they were all set up, and then I came to Lubbock, and that was what really helped me get out of that part was routine.
I think that everybody was pretty impressed by how that was handled and all the things you had to do to actually.
Yeah. I think
Make that
once, let alone with moving, getting out of the area, the thing that healed me the most was knowing that, like, if I'm not here for my mother and my sister, they'll be all right.
You did good, man. I mean, I know me and Cord were proud of you.
There were some times where everyone was pretty worried about me, and everyone was like, he's probably not okay. But
I wish you would have told me it was like a straight up funeral with a set time.
yeah, we'll backtrack to this a little bit. So it's July 9th, and this is going to count. This story is going to contain both Bobaney and Code. It's July 9th. We have the viewing for my father.
I think I want to preface this. I think your father had a hand in what happened.
Now, I'm going to get to that. Yeah, there's no way he wasn't out there joking with us.
This does not end well for me and Baney.
So, obviously, it's my own father's viewing. I'm taking it rough. I hadn't even walked in until it started. I'm in the back crying, talking to people, blah, blah, blah. I tell them the exact time. Cord shows up on time a little early. He's comforting me, and then he walks in and chills out. And then Lane only lived an hour away, but this dude's still late. And there's a back. We're in this like room with a bunch of pews
Like a
and
funeral
whatnot.
home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally, yeah, funeral home. We're all sitting there. It starts. I'm in the front. I'm holding like my mother and my sister while they're bawling to this song. And on the door, just like probably 15 feet away from the casket, Lane walks in through the side door.
Just bust open the door.
Yes, throws these doors open. And everyone like is kind of shocked. I start laughing. I think it's hilarious.
Coach, when you're showing up 5 minutes late and you ask the Air Force, right?
Yeah, so
you say there's Air Force guards out there and you say, hey.
Yeah, they were going to perform taps for my dad and everything. Yeah.
Can I go in right here? Is this the optimal place to enter?
Yeah.
And they're like, yes. You enter.
You have 4 young, stupid airmen who don't know really much about it. They just know that their job is to do taps and like all this stuff.
Yeah, they're just shooting guns and playing music.
Yeah, that's all they're there for. So they see this one door to the funeral home. They go, some random late person, he can go in through there.
Go in there.
Yeah, walks in right next to like the casket.
Door down. Oh my god!
I laugh. I thought it was funny.
Dude,
so,
but in that moment though, you're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, you probably.
And then your uncles were like clowning on me. I felt terrible, but
you felt
your
bad,
uncles
but everyone
made me feel better about it.
And so, like I said earlier, we have the Air Force there to perform taps. So they wheel the casket of my father out. It's me, my mother, my sister. We get to go sit out on 3 chairs right in front of the casket outside. Everyone else has to stand around us or behind us. Everyone's getting out. Lane and Cord are some of the last people to get out.
We're the last people out.
There's complimentary water, obviously. Cord is walking past the casket and drops his water bottle. Just full on drops it. And to this day,
I can't even explain it. I was just walking. It's literally like someone knocked it out of my hand.
To this day, we have this conversation. My dad slapped the water bottle out of Cord's hand, and he just thought it was hilarious.
Well, it's probably because he was
happen.
looking out for me. You know, he was like,
he probably knew.
I can't have Bobaney suffer alone.
Bane look a damn fool. So let me go and throw Cord under the bus.
I mean, I don't want to get too specific with it, but I'm literally walking in front of the casket. I drop the water bottle. I turn, I make eye contact with your crying mom, and I have to just pick up this water bottle,
straight face,
and act like it didn't just happen.
Yeah. Everyone's out, by the way. Everyone's watching this take
everybody
place.
saw this.
Thank God we have a relationship with that family.
Yeah.
I mean,
it wasn't a small viewing either. There was a lot of people, and he just goes like right in front of everyone.
I'm
Everyone's
so grateful.
Yeah.
That we had like a relationship with you and your family and your dad, because if we were just 2 guys that kind of knew your dad, that would have been, I mean, it wasn't great.
Yeah, it would have been terrible but it was y'all, and I thought it was funny. It helped me out in the moment.
Yeah.
But
you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Of course, don't mention it.
But I just thought it was hilarious,
That was a little bit of a heavier Canton Avenue. It's only episode 2, and we already unloaded a bombshell.
But I like stuff like that.
It makes for a great conversation, and you really don't have most people at Tech don't have something like that happening.
No.
At least we are willing to talk about it. I'm a pretty open book.
Well, I just appreciate people listening to it.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah,
speaking of people listening to it, me being one of the close friends of y'all and maybe former co-host when I move in, we'll see.
Ooh.
Foreshadowing. I heard you got some negative reviews or some tips from the last podcast.
All right, so there's a couple things I want to touch on in regards to the last podcast. I've been asking people for, their feedback and whatever. I want to hear what they thought.
Constructive criticism.
And just right off the rip, yes, we know, me and Cord know that there is a difference between grammar and punctuation. I know that. Okay. And the other thing is too, a lot of people want to sit on the other side of the screen. And
we're talking to you.
And act like they think we don't know about Texas history. Like I didn't take an entire class.
I went to school in New Mexico and still took Texas history.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was like a middle school thing.
Actually?
About 90% positive. I'm also very slow. So
anyhow,
it could have been like New Mexico history. He just didn't know.
No,
maybe I was
in
in Texas.
It was New Mexico. I took Texas history in high school. Like I remember taking it. I had to.
Oh, okay.
I had to take it because I was coming to Tech, so I had to take a Texas history.
That makes sense.
Yes, but I apologize for my last episode comments about Texas being proud. I recognize we were our own country at one point, and I apologize to any of those I might have offended by my comments. God bless.
Cord just name dropped again, so I had to cut it out.
God bless and go Raiders.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Unfortunately, we don't plan on stopping. We're going to keep on going.
Oh, you're going to get really bad podcasts.
Canton Avenue. We're taking this bitch global.
Later, skaters.
Goodbye.